What's up, Tiger baseball fans? This is another segment of Around the Bases, and right now we are going to preview this week for Clemson baseball. We have a midweek game against Georgia, and then Wake Forest comes to town this weekend, and seeing if Clemson can get back on the right track. I am your host, Big Al. With me, as always, is my co-host Corey Welsh. Corey, look, this is your specialty. All right, this is where you knock it out of the park. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to let you dive right in and get to this and kind of let us know what to expect for Clemson baseball this week.
All right, so this week we kind of open up with Georgia. I feel like out of all the non-conference midweek games that Clemson has, I think from a fan's perspective, anytime they play Georgia, that's probably the one they get most excited about. A couple of weeks ago, played them in a really, really close game. This time it's in Athens, which the Bulldogs are pretty good at home. They're 17-8 at home, 23-12 overall, 7-8 in the conference. They're a little hot right now. Obviously, took 2 out of 3 from Vanderbilt 2 weeks ago, which is no easy task, and then also took 2 out of 3 from Kentucky this past weekend. Clemson's a little different this week. Rob Hughes is getting his first start on the mound, which we've seen Hughes a lot in relief appearances, here at Clemson as well as at Furman. So, to the fans, like that could be like a head scratcher. But look, it's not the first time in his life he's ever started. None of these guys. Hughes, he on a state championship team a couple of years ago. He was one of the main guys, and I like what Coach Lee's doing here. I think Rob is a fiery guy that They may be looking to kind of get the momentum going early on in the game, kind of get some life, and especially when you're going on the road, it's good to have that experienced guy on the mound to get things started. So it's kind of where we're at with Georgia.
Yeah, look, Clemson plays Georgia in some great games. It seems like this happens all the time. They got the better of them earlier this year, which kills me. And we want to remind the fans that you are the enemy in this particular case as a Georgia. I'm not letting that go by. Okay. Yes. Corey Wells is a Georgia fan. This is, guys, it's the best I could find. Okay. He worked for the Chiefs. It is what it is. So we're going to work hard tomorrow. Okay. It's a tough haul.
Yeah, we'll keep it clean on the air. So.
Look, I hope we can get a good win this year. I mean, that would be huge for Clemson. Like you said, when Clemson plays Georgia, it's a big deal. It's a big deal to both teams. It's a big deal to the fans. And a lot of that stems, from the football rivalry, going back to the '80s and whatnot. So it's a lot of good football to be had for sure. And hopefully we can have another good baseball game. I'm hoping that Clemson can come out on top in this one finally. But hey, I'm looking forward to a good one. I hope Rob Hughes has a great start. He's pitched pretty well in relief this season, so I'm looking forward to him being on the mound to start the night. So now give us kind of what we're looking at with this Wake Forest team. I know you had a couple of notes we were looking at earlier.
Yeah, so Wake Forest coming to town this weekend. They're 12-17 overall. Struggling a little bit. In the conference, they're a little kind of about the same team as Clemson, a little inconsistent. But there were a couple of things that really stuck out to me. First thing was, they're hitting 243 as a team, so you're kind of like, but the thing that stuck out to me was they've hit 44 home runs. This team's not afraid to swing the pole. They got Brock Wilkin sitting 301. He's got 10 home runs. Bobby Seymour, 245 with 8. Chris Lanzilli, 261 average with 6 home runs, and Shane Muntz, 232 with 7. So there's some serious thump in the middle of that lineup. So, at the same time though, like you can't. I mean, that I just reeled off like 4 names. Another thing with this team is looking at their strikeout numbers. They're not afraid to strike out. They've already struck out over 300 times this season. So it's kind of a do, like they go to the plate looking to do one thing. Hopefully, from a Clemson perspective, they're able to fail a lot more. Which with England going on, assuming that everything kind of stays the same with kind of where we've been, England with the wipeout stuff, Askew able to change arm angles and do a lot of things, and Hoffman just being Hoffman. There's an opportunity for this team to be successful. Looking at the pitching side, they have a starter, Ryan Cusick, 2.92 ERA, in 40 innings. He's only given up 36 hits, 67 strikeouts, and teams are hitting 240 against him. And he's only allowed 3 home runs, which in college baseball at this point of the year, I mean, cat's pretty good. Yeah. So, I think the night that he throws, that's going to be a tough draw for the Tigers. Kind of going back even to our previous show, the thing that, I think this is a good, we just did in our previous segment, kind of the mid-season thing. I would think at this point, this is a good reset moment for Clemson, as far as the second half of the season goes. I think we kind of reached that point, with Wake Forest still left, Duke, Louisville, Georgia Tech, Florida State, those guys. And looking at Wake Forest's records, kind of what they've done in the conference up to this point, they dropped 2 out of 3 to Notre Dame, dropped 2 out of 3 to Georgia Tech. They did go to Tallahassee and win 2 of 3. At Louisville, they dropped 2 out of 3. They were swept by Virginia Tech, and then they stole one. They didn't still want to do. They won 11-0, and then dropped the other 2 games. So basically, what I'm seeing is Friday night's going to be a tough draw with their guy on the mound. So if Clemson can find a way, which we've seen it this year, even with the Boston College game, they ran a good guy out there on Friday night and things like that. If Clemson's able to grab that first game on Monday, which in these 3-game series is always key, if they're able to find a way to steal that one, I mean that can really turn the whole season around. So
sure, yeah. Look, I got to tell you what really bothers me is when we win that Friday night game, nothing good has come from that this year. We won the first one against Notre Dame, lost the next 2. We won the first one against Virginia, lost the next 2. All right, so winning the Friday night gives me this relief. And after watching this season, I'm like, wait a minute. It has not worked out well for Clemson so far. That's not what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to easily be able to win one of those last 2. And it just hasn't happened yet. So, look, this is the time to turn it around. I love what you said. This is time for the reset button. Look, Clemson needs the reset button in a major way right now. All right, look, this is the time. Monty likes to talk about winning the last 9. That's something he has talked about, and that's something Clemson has not done this year. So instead of winning the last 9 each game, let's just win the second half of the season, okay? Let's do that. Let's talk about winning the series the second half of the season, and let's do that. Let's start with Wake Forest at home this weekend, win that series, move forward, okay? We'll take it a series at a time and go from there. It's gonna be fun to watch. I say it's gonna be fun to watch. There's people that's been complaining about watching Clemson baseball lately. Okay, when it doesn't go well, the fans aren't happy, and that's understandable. I'm one of them. I don't get happy watching them lose games, watching them make errors. Not being able to get the outs, not being able to get the hits. Those are kind of frustrating things for sure. But we want to talk about the young talent. We've talked about it before. We've mentioned it before. We're hoping the halfway point is a good time for them to really, really put it together. And we'll see if that happens. Who really knows? We'll be talking about it here in about a week, whether it worked or not against Wake Forest, whether we were able to steal one against Georgia on the road. It's going to be fun. But look, again, I sound like the eternal pessimist when it comes to baseball. I'm the eternal optimist come Friday when it's game time. I promise you. So I'm going to think the same thing. I'm going to have the same mindset I always do, and they're going to win the series against Wake Forest this weekend. That's what I'm going in thinking. And until we have lost that second game, that's what I'm going to believe, whether we're down 10-0 or whatever. It does not matter. So
and you got to snag one of those midweek games along the way too. Like when if they turn it around, I really feel like a win at Georgia is a nice resume builder.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw the SEC word out there, but I mean it is what it is at this point. I mean, look at the rankings. I mean, it's a good conference, and so is the ACC. So
no doubt, yeah, they're both good conferences. The SEC is actually very heavy at the top right now in the top 10. They got like 5 teams in the top 10, which is insane. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, it certainly would be a good win. Again, we have a game against South Carolina, another one. That you want to say is winnable, even though South Carolina is playing much better than we are right now. Look, the fact of the matter is we played them 2 out of 3 games, and they went to extra innings, both of them. Okay, we can compete with those guys. We've showed that, and that would be another nice win for Clemson when we pick up that game later on. So the opportunities are there. You just got to take advantage of them. So that's what we're going to cross our fingers and hope for as Clemson fans going for the rest of this season. Look, make sure and get in and like the show, follow the show on Facebook, like and subscribe to the show on YouTube. That's how we expand the brand. That's how we get the conversation started. And like it or not, good or bad, we want to talk Clemson baseball the rest of this way, and that's what we're going to do. So we appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you next time.